And, I also am a big believer on being direct as well. So tiptoeing around things I get Facebook private messages all the time. You can read through the BS, and it's like, I'd rather have somebody come direct and say something more blunt. I have more respect for that.
Think we're live. Yep, I can see it up at the top corner. So I'm super excited about this one, Curtis. You're the best. I cannot wait to dive in. So everybody out there, thank you so much for tuning in, as always, to another incredible live webinar with LabCoatAgents from the LCA family. I'm one of your many hosts, Greg Fowler, the founder of Lion Bolt Media, and I cannot wait to dive into this topic today. It's absolutely incredible. I was just telling Curtis in the green room, as they say, it's always an honor and a pleasure to spend time with this man and share the stage. So I cannot wait to dive in. For anybody who doesn't know my buddy Curtis, he is the accolades go on and on, but appreciation marketing. He's the author. He's the CEO of AM Cards, which is an absolutely phenomenal business. And again, the topic is very, very on point with so much with how much Curtis dives deep into when we talk about the main title, which is Intentional Recruiting 201, right? Not just the 101, which I love that, Curtis. So I can't thank you enough for taking the time today and sharing all your love and knowledge with LCA. So Curtis, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It's an honor and it's a privilege to be on here and share a little bit. I got a little bit of background and how this actually came to be. I had somebody reaching out and saying, "Hey, Curtis, can we put together some recruiting greeting cards that we can send out to people and bubble?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool." And I said, I got thinking about it, and I said, "Well, what do you have in mind?" And they're like, "Well, similar how you help out real estate agents automate greeting cards for, birthdays and home anniversaries and all in between." And I said, "That's all well and good." And however, at the core of it, people join people. And if you're looking to recruit into your real estate team or whatever team it is that you're recruiting for, it's kind of almost like I don't want to just put on automation with greeting cards, because I feel like when you automate to a certain point, especially when you're recruiting, people can get that sense that it's not authentic and it's not genuine. And I wouldn't call you, Greg, at Lion Bolt Media and say, "Hey, do you have any virtual assistants or anybody that can help me out and call all of my best friends on their birthdays and wish them a happy birthday for me?" I wouldn't do that. That's not something that's very authentic and genuine. So I got thinking about it a little bit more. In my background, I was in a network marketing business for 10 years, full time. I personally recruited over 500 frontline people, had a team of over 3,000. And I made a lot of mistakes early on. And I think like we all do. And so if I can help out a few people, even people that are at the next level and recruiting big teams, there's some value here that you can bring back. Can guarantee you that. And one of the main reasons why we wrote the book Appreciation Marketing was all around the fact of attraction, of attracting people to you. See, appreciation marketing is marketing that's done without expectation of getting something in return. It's not a tit for tat type of a marketing system. If I do this, then I should get that. It's more about creating a habit in your life of showing up in people's lives with appreciation and gratitude and love. And I feel like when you do that, the universe pays you back tenfold. And it may not come from the direct area that you're doing it, but they say that how you show up in one area of your life is often how you show up in another area of your life. So that's kind of the behind the scenes of why I decided that I would take some time to talk about some tips and tricks about intentional recruiting coming from more of a heart-centered place, attracting your tribe. And so we're going to go over some of those things. Anything you want to add, Greg, before we kind of jump into some slides?
I'm just super excited about this because I know that this topic is crucially important for so many people that are out there. And I would venture to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Curtis, but you could look at it from a professional to professional standpoint as the real estate professionals who are watching this. Hey, if I'm looking to grow my team, if I'm looking to expand my organization, that's a level of recruiting and connecting. Another thing would be recruiting your sphere, right? Buyers and sellers. That's a form of recruiting in and of itself. So I know that this is very poignant topic and everyone can learn so much from you. It's not even funny. So I tell everybody, please take out your pens and pads, whatever you're doing, just take notes. Also, there's going to be the recording on YouTube later on. So if you're jumping in while we're live halfway through, watch Curtis again and again and again. I can't stress that enough. And Jake will put stuff in the comments. And lastly, if you do have comments, I'm going to be monitoring those for Curtis as he goes through. So if you have questions or thoughts, please chime in. We love interaction all the way through. But Curtis, this is great. And I can't wait to jump in.
Well, you made a good point. We were just talking, Greg, is the fact that there are different kind of conversations, whether you're trying to recruit a buyer, a seller, an investor, whether you're trying to recruit agents or you're trying to recruit leaders. And it's all in the conversations that you're having. So if you're talking about buying or selling real estate, you're going to find customers. You're going to find people. It's just how many conversations can you have, right? Conversations lead to opportunities and opportunities lead to closed business. And then you have, if you're going to talk about comp plan, you're going to talk about split. So you're going to talk about this or that and the pros to what your compensation plan is, you're going to attract agents. It's the way it is. I mean, you're not going to attract everyone. However, when the more conversations you have, the more people that are open to making a move and joining. However, when you change the conversation around vision, about where you are as an organization right now, most importantly, where you're going, that's when you attract leaders. And so just what kind of conversations do you want to have? And it's also important, and why we're going to talk about this today, is constantly reinvesting into yourself and becoming the best version of yourself in order to attract more people on your team that want to join you. And so, and that whatever business it is, whether you're attracting employees to work for you or you're attracting agents that are in production, doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, people are people and people have a heart, and understanding that everybody has an invincible sign around their neck that says, make me feel appreciated. Because if you don't, somebody else will. And so I'm going to share anything you want to add with that?
That was beautiful. Absolutely not. No one could have said it better, Curtis. That was fantastic.
So let's talk about this for a second. So intentional recruiting, I say 201, 101. I definitely probably should change that to 201 because I feel that 101 is more along the lines of how many phone calls do you have to make? You know, real estate is a contact sport, and the more contacts you make, the more that you're going to earn. And I get that. And I truly believe in that. And it's the same thing around recruiting. You know, do you have the more conversations that you have, even if, like, I knew somebody that was up in the Massachusetts area, and it was years ago. And I remember him telling me that he has this automated system for recruiting agents. And I was like, well, that's cool. It was more of an automated system for setting appointments, really. And then from that point forward, he was a master of building and strength and creating relationships, selling the vision, and built a massive team over the years that have done, you know, billions of dollars in production. So it's really kind of cool to see. So I understand that there's automated ways. And I also understand that it's important to constantly plant seeds. You know, think of your business as like growing a tree. You know, do you, like, an oak tree, did you know that an oak tree has a tap root that goes down into the ground just as long as it is up in the air? So if it's a 50-foot tree, it has like a 50-foot taproot, from what I understand, that goes down in for stabilization. And it's a very strong rooted tree. Actually, I'm looking outside right now. We have some live oak trees here in Florida, and it's a lot different than some of these other trees that when a hurricane comes through, they will get knocked over. And so I share that with you is because if you want to build an organization, not only do you want to go wide, you do want to build in depth. You want, and especially it depends on what type of organization, of course, you're building, but there are a lot of companies out there, and a lot of companies that we personally work with AM cards, that's exactly what they're striving for. And with planting seeds, they say that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time to plant a tree is today. And why do I share that? Is because think about planting seeds as building your business. Because with this, actually it's number 2, but I'm jumping ahead of myself a little bit, and I'm gonna go back to that. But number 1 out of all this is that when you're recruiting people, these agents, they're human beings. They have goals and they have dreams. And oftentimes when we're recruiting, and this is what I did, this is one of the biggest mistakes that I made, and I talk about it in my book, Appreciation Marketing. And if anybody wants a free download, by the way, of the book, you can go to appreciationmarketing.com/audiobook, and you can download it for free. Appreciationmarketing.com/audiobook. You can have the download for free. It's also on Audible as well if you want to pay a few bucks and get it there. But one of the things is that I was really focused. I was looking at people as dollar signs and decimal points. I really was, because I came out of corporate America and I was kind of trained that way. I worked for a multi-billion-dollar company selling sexy products like toilet paper and air fresheners and soaps to businesses. And the company was tied to Wall Street. So I was only as good as my last sale. There was no type of recurring revenue. So I thought that by me going out and getting new customers, I was just on to the next. It got turned over to customer service, and I was kind of forced to start over every day at 0, every week at 0, every month at 0. And it was because I was forced to look at people as dollar signs and decimal points. So when I went into my career of recruiting and selling and with building an organization, I kind of brought that on over. So when I went to networking events, people could sense that I was there and I was looking at them as dollar signs and decimal points because of the questions I was asking. And it was like I wasn't there to try to serve. I wasn't there to try to give. I was there to try to take, and that came across. And so when you understand that the person that you're trying to recruit that you would love to have in your organization, they're human beings with goals and dreams. And if you can get them to share their goals and their dreams, then you can be more direct with them and ask them, if I could help you achieve some of those goals that you have written down and some of those dreams faster, are you open to having a conversation? And having that, oh, are you open to having a conversation? Because a lot of people are, it's a nice approach. It puts them in power, of course, because that they are. And so that opened up a lot of doors for me. There was a time that I went to Australia and I spent 6 months there. I did a book tour. I was all over the country talking about appreciation marketing. I was also building my networking business, and I didn't know anybody there. So in 90 days, how did I do 252 one-on-one appointments at coffee shops? It was because I was interested in other people. I was interested in their goals and their dreams. And I also knew that my product or service wasn't right for everyone. So when you understand that not everybody is a fit and you have more of an abundance mentality versus a scarcity mentality, you show up differently and you attract more. So when you're going about this, the faster you can get to understanding somebody's goals and their dreams, it's different than yours. Like when I got started, it was money driven. It was how much money I wanted to make a month. And then when I really started being successful was when I flipped it around and started understanding other people's goals and dreams and what can I do to add value to their life to help them speed up the process and get there faster. And that is when everything took off for me. And it's the same thing when we started AM Cards. I looked at it and said, it's customer centric. It's a customer first company. Like we have to make it simple, easy, or else people are not going to do it. And let's have that customer in mind as we're making all the decisions moving forward. And that's how we've been so successful. So another one, it's not their time. Well, I'm sorry, your time is not their time or their time is not your time. So it could go either way. Your time is them joining your organization like yesterday or last month or last year. Obviously, that's not their time, and that's important to respect that. It's also, there's often times in the past that I've kind of I felt ruined a relationship because I was trying to press too hard, and it doesn't open up the opportunity for them to come back to me when something might not be going right. in their life, whether it's the opportunity that they're currently in. So when you're talking about real estate, there's lots of opportunities that come up that somebody is not happy for whatever reason in their current situation. And if you're open and you're that person that they feel comfortable reaching out to or having a conversation about this is what just happened, then you attract more. You're that line of communication. And I've seen it over and over again where that person, okay, now's the time. You know what? Let's have that conversation about making the change and moving forward with you guys. And that leads me to the next one, is leading by example and making sure that you're stepping up and doing the things that you're sharing, and don't ask your team to do anything that you're not willing to do yourself. That's one of the biggest things. If you're saying you make X amount of phone calls, or you want to do this or do that to be successful, if you haven't already done it and built the model and shown that it's proven, then you better be in the trenches right there with them, doing the exact same thing. And so I think that's part of the reason why I've attracted so many people. People saw my work ethic. People saw that I was genuine. In the very beginning stages, I know I wasn't. However, when it shifted and everything started opening up for me, they started looking at me, and you're more visible than you think, because what you do in private shows up in public, right? So what you do in private, the things that you're doing, working hard, doing the follow-up, and all those little things that are important, the fundamentals of building a business, it shows up in your numbers, it shows up in your production and everything. So if you're looking to build an organization, first, show that your production is increasing and that you're building out systems and you're putting people in place to take care of the things that you shouldn't be focusing on and in the day-to-day, so you can rise up and you can grow. And people want to join people that are like that. And so there's some of the things that I've done in the past. And then also, as a leader, one of the things that you should be doing is looking ahead down the road and around the corner and saying, what can I do to clear out the path ahead to make it easier for the people that are coming along behind me? And that's something that I learned this when I actually had a job. So when I worked for a gentleman here in Central Florida, big in the real estate industry, actually came from the lending side, and he had a right-hand man that he always told me, Curtis, my job is to help clear the path for you to run on. And I love that. And he's like, Curtis, what are some obstacles that's happening right now? Or what obstacles do you foresee happening? And we had these conversations a lot. And then he went to work to clear out the path so then I could run even faster. And so there's always different little obstacles that you can be working on as a leader to make things easier, to bring people in behind you. I don't know, maybe it's a transaction coordinator that can help them when they're really busy and you're chipping in, or you have this or that. There's so many different things that can happen, that just think about that as you guys are moving forward. The other thing is be you, because there was a time in my career where I was attracting people and I was recruiting, but I wasn't authentically me. And what I mean by that is, once they joined the team and they saw like behind the curtain a little bit, they realized this isn't who I thought I joined. This was really early in my career. And I realized how important it is to not look at the big leader that's on stage and say, that's who I have to be in order to attract, people in my organization. There's elements and there's pieces of that person that you want to emulate for sure. But at the core, be you, attract your tribe, show up in the life and show that you care. That was the biggest thing, because what was happening with me was I was recruiting people, and then I showed a lot of love and attention and appreciation, gratitude while recruiting them. And then I was on to the next. And then that's why I focus so heavily on retention. Retention needs to be, and I think that's a little bit further down, but I'm going to talk about that in just a second. How about recruiting an army? Yes, it's important to recruit numbers. That absolutely is important. And what you're going to find as you're building is that some will rise up and they will become special forces. And when those people that are as you're recruiting numbers, it's just inevitable that some of them will grasp what you're training and teaching them, and they'll plug into systems and they'll be massive producers. And as they become massive producers, they'll be attracting more people. They will be the ones that are going to be walking across stages and having spotlight shined on them all the time. But you don't have to try to force everybody to be there. Everybody has different goals and different dreams. Some might just want a couple of closings a month, so then that way they feel comfortable providing for their family. Other ones wants to build teams of hundreds or thousands of agents in their organization. Everybody is different, and respect it and respect each and every one of them. So here's another one that I realized is that in my growing teams and building, I always want things to happen like yesterday. And I remember being in Australia and I talked to this lady. She's actually a clairvoyant woman. And she sat me down and she says, Curtis, she goes, you need to slow down in order to speed up. And she was saying like, good, it takes time to build something substantial. And in building something great, it takes longer. So be okay with that and just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward, because progress is success. And Tony Robbins talks about that. He says, progress is success. As long as you're moving in the right direction, you're feeling more fulfilled, and so just understanding that good takes time. And stop comparing yourself to other people. Some people get in and they move faster and they might attract somebody that builds an organization quicker. And it's like, well, how come I've been in for a year? What am I doing wrong? And you keep pointing at yourself. No, the only person that you compare yourself to is yourself. And the more that you clap for other people and the more that you genuinely, I feel, the more that the universe or God or whatever you believe in, the more that they bless you. So if there is something inside, it's okay to be competitive. Okay. It's okay to say, you know what, but instead pat them on the back, say congratulations, and genuinely mean it and say, my time is coming. I'm just going to keep showing up and doing the right things, and my goals and dreams will be realized as well. And that kind of goes along with having the abundance mentality versus the scarcity mentality, thinking that everybody should be on your team or that you should be working with everybody. That's more, ego driven, and down the road, that shines through. So the scarcity mindset, people don't want to join people with the scarcity mindset, because when you're growing an organization and you're building, one of the great things about real estate is that almost anybody can get a license, right? You study hard, you can get a license. One of the worst things about real estate is just about anybody can start. Anybody can get a license if they desire to, and they, the study and pass and become an agent. And you don't need everybody. I think that's one of the biggest things that when I crossed that and said, not every opportunity or not every company is right for every individual. And you know what? I'm going to show up in their life and add value and support them, whether they join me or not. You'd be really surprised, because down the road and not burning bridges and saying things behind people's back that could be coming back to bite you. Those are all types of things that you should think that is common sense. However, it's not common practice. And you can tell a lot about somebody the way that they talk about somebody else. So if you think that that's a complete secret and that they're only telling you, be careful, because the more that you open up, the more that you realize that and learned that the hard way in the past. Also, setting up retention as a strategy, because just as hard as you work to attract an agent or attract a customer, it's really important to make sure you retain them. And I talk about that relentlessly with AM cards. And I talk about the biggest missed opportunities with birthdays and home anniversaries, and making sure that you're staying in touch with people. Because see, the number one reason why somebody's not going to come back to you or refer you business is perceived indifference. It's a fancy way of saying that they don't think that you actually care. The number one reason why somebody's going to leave your organization to go to somebody else's a lot of times it's perceived indifference. They don't think that you actually care. They think that you care more about recruiting that next agent and helping them and bringing them in, rather than what they currently have. And so one of the things that I would strongly recommend is putting in retention as a strategy, making sure that there's events. What are you doing to build culture? What are you doing to show them appreciation and gratitude and checking in on them, and not just checking in on their numbers of, oh, how much do you have pending this month and what you closed last month? I'm talking about like, how are your kids doing? I saw that you guys are going to a lot of little league games. How's Johnny doing? Like those types of things mean more to somebody and get it than it does what they just closed last month. And they feel that. And if you want to build a big organization, build a bunch of people that care about each other and care about each other's success, and focusing on retention and keeping all of those people as a strategy. And last but not least, one of my favorite quotes that I heard at a Tony Robbins seminar years ago, and I had it printed out and on my desk for the last 2 homes that I lived in. And I need to print it out again or go find it, because it's one of my favorite all-time quotes. It said, doubt will take you out of action, and action will take you out of doubt. So when you start to doubt yourself or doubt where you're going in your business, whether it's your personal production or whether it's growing a team, whatever it may be, put yourself back in the activity mode. And what does the activity look like? Well, that's the fundamentals that we're not going to go into, but you know exactly what that means. And it really goes around conversations, and so we'll shift let's have a quick conversation, Greg, about what we just talked about. And then I'm going to show a couple of tips and tricks of how AM cards can open more doors, close more business, and attract more agents. And that won't be too long.
Curtis, this was incredible. Just up to this point, this is like a master class of really looking at it from a recruiting standpoint. So I do like the not necessarily the 1.0, but the 1.2. This is next level. A lot of that basis of what you had mentioned to some people might sound fundamental or commonplace, but it's, as you earlier said, it's not necessarily common practice. And I think that anybody who's watching this with us live, or if they're watching it later, on after the fact, just applying a few of those principles that Curtis just went through, you're going to see massive growth into your business. And I think that that's really the whole point. But what I really love into so many things about just getting to know the people, and something that was in a little bit of description through LCA, is the heart of attracting and recruiting is heart. And a lot of it is just being real and being you and genuine. And I guess I can't stress that enough. If you didn't hear Curtis say this, it matters. People can feel that love and support and intentionality, and they're going to stick with longer. They're going to be attracted to faster if that's real. And they can read just through it as soon as it's signed on the dotted line and they come over. If it's a different case scenario, they're going to feel that. And guess what? They're going to go where they're loved, where they're supported. As Curtis is saying, just amongst so many things, I know that from a recruiting standpoint, and that's where I think a lot of the individuals who are tuning into this, they want to know that tactical side, Curtis. And I know with AM cards, there's so much that can be done to really apply everything that you had just said to real, genuine practice, because everyone likes the idea of learning and growing in theory. Yeah. But as you mentioned, that action is what gets things done. So I'd love to dive in whenever you're ready.
Absolutely. And, I also am a big believer on being direct as well. So tiptoeing around things I get Facebook private messages all the time, and you can read through the BS, and it's like, I'd rather have somebody come direct and say something more blunt. I have more respect for that. And I have a feeling that many of you do as well. So one of the things that I wanted to share is something like this. If you want to reach out to somebody, then maybe just say directly, hey, are you open to having a conversation to work together? Are you open to having a conversation to work together? No. Okay, great. You know what? Next, because, and I also have done this in the past, sending greeting cards, and I've put bullet points of some of the biggest pain points And if one of those pain points happen to strike a chord, then maybe a conversation can be opened. Because once you open that conversation, they raise their hand and they say yes. Applying all of the stuff that I just shared with you makes it even more relevant. Using, like, coming to a networking event or meeting somebody and saying, what can I do to add value to your business to help you reach your goals and dreams sooner? I'd be like, somebody comes, what are you trying to say? You know, it's like, are you trying to say that you want me to join your organization and sell real estate in your company? You know, like I would be, that's exactly what I'm thinking. But you know what, if you make a compliment and say, no, I've seen some of your posts. I love the way that you go about doing business, and you add compliments and you say, you know what, I would love the opportunity to work with you someday. Are you open to having a conversation? Boom. It's like, you know, somebody feels, wow, they appreciated me. Or you make a certain comment about something that they've done or how they reacted to this one customer that you happen to read one time. When you have the opportunity to have share with that, you can also put that in a greeting card and send it to them. Another thing is that, and for those of you guys that aren't that familiar with amcards.com, go sign up for free and take a look at it, because, and I'm going to show you the inside of it, because you can customize them with your own pictures. You can put your own stuff. So if you happen to see somebody that you've had conversations with in the past, you know them, maybe you're friends with them on Facebook, and it's not like like a kind of a creepy thing to do. If you don't feel, they just had a grandbaby. Okay, great. They just had a grandbaby. They had a baby and they're showing a picture of holding their grandbaby for the first time. Take that picture, put it on a greeting card and send it to them, because I guarantee their broker's not doing it. That's a level of showing that you care at a different level. Now, if you don't know that person and somehow, some way you come across that picture and you send it, it becomes creepy and it can repel more than it could attract. So just putting that in perspective. And now, and the other thing I wanted to share is maybe another along the lines of, you know, a conversation and being more direct. Well, I actually just shared it. Say, if I could show you a way to help reach your goals and dreams sooner, would you be open to having a conversation? That's after they kind of shared with you. I'm trying to share my screen right now. Here we go. And I'll share this with you because, you know, I actually Greg and I did a webinar together a few months ago. And I see that you are having a baby boy, correct? Soon?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
And so I went online, I wanted to send him a card, and I'll let him share his reaction to the card, but I want to share with you inside the system. So this is actually the actual card that I sent, his beautiful family on the front, the baby boy in the belly. And, and so I put his daughter on the inside of the card. I mean, the cutest picture ever. And then, and I wrote a nice little message saying, thank you for hosting. And it was really fun and working with you. And then at the bottom, I put PS 20 seconds in the microwave and a scoop of ice cream. You'll thank me later. And that was because I sent him a box of gourmet fudge brownies, had my branding on the back, but I sent this card. I'll let you share what the thoughts were with.
Yeah, Curtis. And again, it was, it's something that you had mentioned out here, which is just another gem amongst all the knowledge that you're dropping. It's something that we teach all the time, is purposely prospecting and doing it in a meaningful way and an intentional way on social media, different digital platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, if you have a following, and really kind of cherry picking those potential conversations to have with real people that you're connecting with. You've never physically met. Like, Curtis, you and I have never physically met. But I feel like I know you, which is fantastic. This is all done on the digital aspect. So what I love about AM Cards is it takes that digital conversation and our presence and brings it to a physical world. So Curtis didn't say anything. He just literally sent this awesome card with and I've got a picture. The brownies are all gone. Otherwise I'd show them to you. But I took a picture, and it was just absolutely incredible. Thank you for that tip, by the way. Heating them up and adding the scoop made an awesome difference. They were good either way, but it was a complete surprise. It was very heartfelt and it was genuine. And again, that's what people are looking for. And now imagine if Curtis was a massive team lead looking to grow and expand their organization, or Curtis was, a top producing agent reaching out to that seller after that listing presentation. I mean, there's you can use your imagination, but if Curtis sent me that same card and he got to know my family and he understood what was changing in my life, minus the brownies, even forget the brownies, just the card in of itself was very heartfelt, very sweet. You throw that on top of it, that's going to leave an impression. Yes. And it's all about connecting and leaving impressions and standing out amongst so much competition. And I don't care if it's recruiting for growth and expansion of team, or if it's recruiting just in general for expanding your business, buyers and sellers from a real estate perspective. So I can't thank you enough for that. I know that myself and my daughter enjoyed those brownies. And it was just something that really touched me, Curtis. And I know that if I felt that anyone on a receiving end of that kind of thought or sentiment is going to feel just that same way. Very great. So yeah, it was wonderful perspective for sure.
And it kind of leads me to, and when you said the impression, right? And I know that if I followed up with a personal email, or if I sent you a text message and I said, thank you so much, or I sent you a social media private message, that would have made an impression in itself, because you're like, oh, that was nice. Curtis followed up, thanked me for my time on the webinar. You're carving out time out of your business, out of your family to be able to be here to host this. And I do appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And then one of the things we talk about with AM cards a lot is, it's almost like stop making an impression and start making an impact. And the impact is, when you show up in somebody's mailbox, is a lot different than showing up in somebody's inbox or in their text message threads. You're remembered at a different level. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want to be remembered. And more importantly, you want to be remembered with a little warm and fuzzy right in here. Because now from me sending that card, when my name gets brought up around Greg's going to have a little smile. He's going to be like, and that is important to me. And it should also be very important to you in your business when you're attracting talent, when you're attracting buyers and sellers, and more importantly, retaining. Because one of the things that I talk about too is that the real fortune in the follow-up lies after the sale. The real fortune in the follow-up lies after you recruit that agent. Because when they are very happy about the move that they just made and they're speaking it about from the rooftops, it attracts more, and when they're silent, there's a good chance they're probably searching maybe for another opportunity, or maybe they're going someplace else. So that is very, very, very important. So, and I'll share a last couple little things. I actually, with this, I sent this card to a friend of mine that their dog passed away, and that's a family member. That's heart-wrenching, and I put in my calendar, I put in my reminder system the year later after as well. So I sent this card actually from the dog, said, thank you for an amazing life, Mom and Dad. Put the Rainbow Bridge poem in there, signed the card from the dog, and wrote, where do I begin? Thank you for being my best friend. Thank you for always finding time to play with me. And thank you for giving me scratches. I'm still here to listen to all your ideas, sorrows, and happy times. I'm still here for you. The best mommy and daddy a four-legged friend could have. Now, can you imagine the response that I got when they reached out to me? Because I've sent them several cards. They knew that it came from me. And when I put that reminder in for 1 year later, it blew them away, because the only people that remember that dog passed away was the people that lived in the house, which was the two of them. Okay. And I get a little creepy if you want to remember year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that first year is important. And also other things too, make mental note of the people, not mental note, heck, write it down or put it in your planner. Who throughout the year loses loved ones very near and dear to their heart, whether it's a sibling, a parent, spouse, somebody. Make a note, because the holiday season is really tough. That first year. My brother Siles passed away when I was 21. He was 23, passed away in a dirt bike accident. And I can tell you that first holiday season without having him around was really hard. It was almost like I didn't want to be around anybody. And there was a couple of people that reached out to me and said, hey, just wanted to let you know, I was thinking about you and your family's holiday season. It was going to be a tough one. And wow, really? That to me was so touching. And if you're doing it only because you're trying to recruit these people, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Really, what I'm trying to say is getting in a habit of being that person and how you're showing up in people's lives, and whether they're a real estate agent or not, put them in there and reach out, because it's a powerful thing to do for just being a good person.
Curtis, I know that if there's an animal lover watching this, I think that card put someone to tears. I'm just telling you right now, and it's such an emotional time frame, and I think that so many people find that to be, at least in the thought process, taboo. Like, what do I say? Condolences. I'm sorry for your loss. But the people that have lost loved ones deeply, they appreciate that touch. It's not an off-topic sort of thing for most people. They want to remember them, and they want to kind of have that dialogue and conversation. And there's so many different aspects of life that you can celebrate or remind or start. But I think that that's one that's very unique. I've never even thought of that personally before. I think it's beautiful.
And being intentional with the recruiting things as well, is like every opportunity that you have, it, like on the co-broke side, the other agents, compliment them on the things that they're doing great throughout the transaction, stay in touch with them after the transaction, all those types of things. Like, in AM cards, we talk about, don't miss out on the opportunity when you represent a buyer that buys a home, or you represent the seller that sells a home, and then the new buyer comes in. It's a great opportunity. Send the buyer a card after the transaction and congratulate them. And I was the one that represented the seller, and I wanted to say congratulations on your beautiful home and blah, blah, blah. But then remember their home anniversary, because their agent's not doing it. So those are the types of things that, if you're going to do it for your customers, there's a good chance that you say, what can I do? Kind of bring this on over to my retention and my agent attraction strategy to bring people into my team.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And you had made that message loud and clear as far as what's happening in your inbox versus your mailbox. And I know that there's so many of us that are constantly bombarded with so many things, from texts to emails, but having a physical something come in and open. Who doesn't like Amazon coming to the door? Who doesn't like FedEx or UPS coming to the door? I think that it's the same thing with our personal mailboxes. And again, I think just taking a little bit of time out of your day, but with AM cards, there's so much automation. There's so much that gets taken off of your plate. So I think that, and you would know this better than anyone, Curtis, but at least to my perspective, I think the excuses run through people's heads. Oh, well, gosh, I got to remember to do that, or I got to take the time out to write that out, or think, I mean, in a busy life and a busy world as a top producer, what are your thoughts? I mean, how do we kind of combat that from your perspective with AM cards?
So one of the biggest things that I could think of is Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, is a phenomenal book. And he talks about that kind of multitasking is more of an illusion. It's like, get into one thing, do it, and then move to the next. Get it done, move to the next. One thing that I say that is that time block appreciation marketing. All right. Put it in your schedule. Time blocks. I'm going to 30 minutes Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. from 9 a.m. to 9:30. That is when I'm going to make, and then you have a plan, not just block it off. Plan it out. What are you going to do in there? Okay, I'm going to make sure that I thank all of the people from the previous week that we had transactions with on the Cobra, blah, blah, blah. What I do is I go through Facebook and Instagram throughout the week, and I do screenshots of card-worthy life events. Somebody just ran a marathon because their siblings battling something, and they ran a marathon. You realize how much preparation goes into a damn marathon? I ran a couple half marathons. I almost died, like literally. And it was a lot of work leading up to it. So when you recognize and appreciate that they're going across the finish line like this, you grab that image, put it on a card, and say congratulations, and your brother or sister must be so proud of you and your family. It's a lot of work that goes into that. Now do not put on the bottom, P.S. the greatest compliment in the world is warm referral. By the way, do you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Leave that crap off. Chapter 5 of our book is called Chocolate Frosted Dog Crap, and that's exactly what we talk about, sending out propaganda. It's like putting crap on chocolate cake, and or I'm sorry, frosting on dog crap and calling it chocolate cake. It's not chocolate cake, you know? And from afar, it might look like genuine appreciation and gratitude and celebrating somebody's life until it gets up in front of them. You smell it. It's insincere. It's crap. It goes in the garbage and it doesn't show up with a warm and fuzzy. So leave that crap off there. However, if you're going to be intentional with some recruiting and you're going to reach out direct, then send a card saying, you know what? I've noticed how you show up in your life and show up in the business. You are the exact type of person that I would love to have on my team. Are you open to having a conversation? Like if you say something like that, well, then guess what? Maybe if maybe timing is right. If timing's not right, they might hold on to that card.
Sure.
You know, it doesn't hurt to follow up with a phone call, just like it doesn't hurt to send out 200 cards to your past customers and let them know how much you appreciate them. And then maybe you haven't done a great job of it in the past. And however, I'm looking to now, and I just want to thank you in advance for always thinking about me when it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate. That referrals mean the world to me. That is more of a direct, you know, and then when you follow up with a phone call, you don't have to necessarily talk about what was in the card because they read it.
Yep.
You know, and then that conversation will go where it should. So those are the types of things that I wanted to share, and you know, some of the do's, but also some of the don'ts, because you can ruin it just as well as you.
Curtis, I think that everything that you said and more is absolutely incredible, usable information for people to really just apply to their businesses and their lives to maximize the results they're looking to, but just be better, genuine people. I think at the end of the day, and those results will kind of show up. You know, again, in that direct correlation to a real conversation and connecting with people in a meaningful way. That's what it's all about. But to your earlier point, I forgot if it was number 6 or number 5, but really it's on their time. You know, so we're looking at it from that standpoint. It's multiple touch points. It's the ability to be present, right, and to be top of mind, and to always show up as that go-to person. So, look, if Curtis reaches out to me and I'm a top producer in my local market and I'm in a good place right now, but Curtis took the initiative to say, hey, Greg, I like what you're doing. I really, really love how you're just commanding the industry in our markets, and I'd love to join forces anytime. That's something that will be in the back of my mind. And if I have a series of events that come to me making a change, Curtis was there the whole time, not just the initial, but as time goes on, he showed up, he was present. The likelihood of him reaching out at one of those times and me taking him up on that offer is going to dramatically increase, and timing is everything. So, but the great thing is that, you know, if Curtis is looking at it from a direct recruiting talent standpoint, he's not just reaching out to me by myself. There's multiple talented people that Curtis is reaching out to. And it seems like consistency in numbers of recruiting in big because you're reaching out to a number of people and they pop off when they're ready to go. And you were there the whole time. And I think that that's kind of that note. And earlier on, and I wrote this down in my own words, Rome wasn't built in a day. So I love what you're talking about. It's not going to happen overnight. Just like any real genuine relationship didn't happen overnight. It took time to get to know, like, and trust each other and really get to that point, and you building that deep bond. But the great thing about what Curtis is talking about in AM Cards is you can do that in a leverage standpoint. You can be there in the places that you need to be in front of the people that you want to be when it really matters, and let them decide when they're ready. But you were there. And so there's just so much in here, and we can unpack every single one of those points that you had mentioned and so much more, Curtis. I guess the only thing that I would love to state out to anybody in LCA who's tuning into this live with us or after the fact, Curtis puts out incredible content, and I mean, what's the best way for people to tune into that? Because AM Cards has the Facebook page directly.
No, we do. And we actually just launched recently, and we're going to be putting a lot more into it over the coming weeks. And we literally just made the commitment within 2 weeks ago. It's called the AM Cards Success Community, you know, and I'm following some other amazing, like one of the, and I'm modeling off of Follow Up Boss. I see what Follow Up Boss is doing in their success community, and they're doing a phenomenal job. I'm a huge fan of what they're doing and what Tristan is working with them and all that stuff. And like, so I want to model that. I want to be able to help build that. And, we do have a lot of stuff and a lot of content. And so when you actually, one of the cool things is when you sign up for free with AM Cards, and yes, you can become a member. We'd love to have you become a member. You can take a look at the different opportunities once you sign up for free. But inside of AM Cards, you're going to see right here, it's called Referral Secrets. I also own referralsecrets.com. And when you click here, you'll see the 7 most powerful referral secrets. And then we'll also show you how you can implement AM Cards in alignment with the 7 most powerful referral secrets. And so number 1 is showing that you care, and then we go into depth about what that looks like. So you can go ahead and watch those for free. You have access to those once you sign up for free. Send your first card, upload your own signatures, or just sign it. You can put that in there. So really cool things. All the cards you ever send is in the history log right there. So, we make it convenient. I wasn't going to make this a whole tutorial about AM Cards. However, obviously I wouldn't build it if I didn't believe in what this has to offer. And that's one of the main reasons why I built it. Because I was leaving a lot of seminars, a lot of rooms, and realizing how many people, there wasn't a simple, easy, and effective system. Because if it's not simple, people aren't going to use it. And so that's why we did what we did. So thank you so much for hopping on here with me and sharing this.
Curtis, it's always a pleasure, my friend. And again, I guess the one of the greatest ways on Facebook is, so that group, AM Cards Success Community, that's open to the public. Is that?
Yeah, it is. And we just launched it. So it'll be growing here pretty soon. We're going to be launching it to all of our AM Cards database as well very soon. And when you sign up for free, I also send you a greeting card. And the cool thing is I automated that, where the first card that goes out is a card thanking you for signing up and inviting you to be a part of the Facebook Success Community. So you can scan the QR code that's on the card, and it'll bring you right to there where you can join the group. So that's another thing that we did. And then we send you a second card. So that way you receive a couple cards in the mail, and that one invites you to a demo if you'd like to learn more about how to automate past customer birthdays, home anniversaries, all that kind of stuff.
Love that. And again, there's so much more to it, Curtis. And again, just for time, you get the 2 of us on here. I think it was supposed to go 30 minutes. We're almost an hour. Such is life. It was tons of value. Everyone is, I know, loving this content. And so when it comes down to it, you've got a promo code. Anybody who's involved. Yeah.
I do. And you know what? Things have changed a little bit from speaking on stage. That website will. However, if you just go to amcards.com, what I want to do is kind of increase the value ladder. What I realize, instead of just going straight and saying, hey, sign up for a membership, I'd like you to jump on in there for free. amcards.com, sign up, check us out. And then you can click the upgrade and take a look at the different videos that we have for the 2 options for upgrading. And of course, reach out to us, book a demo if you have any questions or anything like that. And I will be taking this video and I will be uploading it into AM Cards for content, because we do have a lot of people asking about building out their teams and using it for attracting talent.
Perfect. Yeah, I love this. And again, obviously go to amcards.com, but you can take a look at this recording on LCA's YouTube channel. It'll be all over the internet after this, but everybody tuning in live, we can't thank you enough. But Curtis, it's always an honor and a pleasure, my friend. So I took so many notes just on myself. And again, this is just fantastic to pick your brain, and you're just a wealth of knowledge. So it's always a pleasure.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, Jake, as well, for all of your help and organize this, as well as everybody in LCA. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, hey, and I can't thank you enough again, Curtis, and everybody out there. So please tune in to the next live webinar with LCA, and we'll catch everybody. You have a great week, and we'll talk soon. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.